I want to talk about Steven Crowder. We just wrapped up a segment. If you're watching it on YouTube, it'll be a different segment, but talking about the misinformation that spreads on Joe Rogan and how right-wing media networks just kind of put out garbage and then people believe it. Here's a great example of that with Steven Crowder. I don't even know if you're someone who wants to hate drag queens so bad. I still don't know how you could get your brain to do the mental backflips to think this is true and to think the left actually is doing this behind the scenes. Just watch and then you'll see what I mean. Sheesh.
So we had ours in Roanoke, Texas. This happened in Temple, Fajita King. And here's the thing. The organizers didn't know. If you have kids, they shouldn't be watching right now. And then I want to sort of explain to you the playbook, because this follows lockstep with what happened in Roanoke, and it follows lockstep with what's happening across the country. And this is not an accident. There is a concerted effort to not only indoctrinate your children. Let me set this up this way. You ever see the movie Hook? Peter Pan, but Hook specifically. The goal was to get the children away from their parents, right? So they would eventually forget their parents, and then they could be controlled. That's the goal here. It's to create enough distance and separation between what parents might want for children so that then they can get their claws in young, and then they can petition and lobby CPS. And maybe 5 years down the line, it becomes standard practice that if you do not allow your child to attend drag shows or your child to get on puberty blockers, you lose your kids. This is all designed to put a wedge between parents and their children. If your children are watching, I highly recommend that they do not right now.
So here's the claim from old Stevie C. The left is trying to set up a situation where if you don't allow your kids to go to a drag show, CPS can come in and take your kids from you. And if you don't allow your kids to get on puberty blockers, CPS can come take your kids. Who, what, where, who's saying, can you, because one of the things I do when we talk about right-wing beliefs is I'll show you a clip. It's a lot of what we do on this show is I'll say, hey, look at what Tucker Carlson said, or look what Ben Shapiro said, or Steven Crowder, or Joe Rogan. And then I'll respond to it from what they said. So you get to see, what are they actually saying? What are my thoughts about it? I never see that with them. They'll just say, hey, the left believes this, this, and this, and that's why you need to be really angry and donate to me. No. And it's like, who are you deriving this meaning from? And what I really think it is, guys, is right-wingers tell other right-wingers what left-wingers believe, and then right-wingers complain about what the left-wingers believe that they got told about from the right-wingers, right? So we saw in this past segment about Joe Rogan telling a story about the litter boxes in schools that don't actually exist. And so then Joe Rogan tells a bunch of people who are on the right that, and then they walk around and complain about the crazy lefties who want litter boxes in school. But there was no lefty in that entire conversation. That was just a bunch of right-wingers misinforming other right-wingers, right? It's the right-wing telephone game. And that's what we're seeing with this as well, where Steven Crowder is saying that these mythical left-wingers want to take away kids who aren't allowed to go to drag shows by their parents. According to no left-winger ever, if a parent decides they don't want to take their child to a drag show, cool. They don't have to. No one's forcing them. Mandated drag show every Sunday morning. This is your new church, ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of Joe Biden. I don't know. It's so strange. I mean, how do you even argue with this? But the less funny part about it is twofold. Number one, how justified would you feel to do some horrible things if your entire worldview centered around the opposition movement, party, etc., wanting to get their, what do you say, talons or their whatever, into your kids, wanting to go after your kids, separate your kids from you. And other right-wingers wingers go much further in saying, you know, the QAnon people will go, they want to, whatever, drink your kid's blood or something. And that is why we see more violence, or that in part on the right than we do in the opposite situation, because the lies they're being told are not just outrageous or are not just separated from reality. They depict a false image of the opposition individuals that makes you, as someone who believes that, likely feel much more justified to do horrible things because you think, oh, they're the groomers. That was the word they used for every single person they could find was you're a groomer, you're a groomer, you're a groomer. And society doesn't like groomers. We don't like pedophiles. And so if you're saying that all of your political enemies are pedophiles and groomers and are coming after your kids, trying to separate them from the family, you're going to feel justified in some dangerous things. As we saw here, we covered on the show, a guy threw a Molotov cocktail into a donut shop because in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because this donut shop had hosted a drag show, which is totally something you're allowed to do. You're allowed to have drag shows or any type of show, you know, within the law and stuff like that. Allow people to have fun, whatever it is. It's so strange. And beyond that, it's dangerous, as we talk a lot about. But there it is, Steven Crowder being Steven Crowder. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.